All right, welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name is Tane Kramer, and today I'm doing a solo review. We are talking about the new comedy action movie, The Machine, starring Bert Kreischer. So I'm going to get into some of the good stuff, some of the bad stuff, and then give my official rating of this one. So before we go, we'll give a quick synopsis of what this movie's about. So it is when the past comes back to haunt Bert Kreischer when a murderous mobster tries to kidnap him to atone for his crimes. With help from his estranged father, which is played by Mark Hamill, Bert must retrace the steps of his younger self as a psychopathic crime family goes to war in Russia. So this pretty much, if you're a Bert Kreischer fan, you know the joke story that kind of made Bert famous, and it's him, the machine, and when he was in college, he joined the Russian mafia, and it's the whole thing. So I thought this movie was going to be a retelling of that story, which was going to be, I'm like, okay, I'll check it out because I'm a fan. But then I found out that it's more of a follow-up to the story, which is kind of interesting. So it's the outcome and the consequences of him doing the stuff he did in his joke coming, like, years later, coming to haunt him, which is pretty awesome. It's a very different take on his joke, but we're gonna get some of the good stuff first. And right off the bat, the cast was great. Bert obviously played himself, and surprisingly, Bert has never been he's never acted before. He did a pretty good job, I gotta admit. I mean, there's some parts where I'm like, okay, you could tell he's new, but for the most part, like, he was really, really good. Like, the emotional stuff, I don't know if he was like thinking about like real things that happened in his life, like oh, hey, Mark Hamill is my dad, and having that like father son conversation that they should have had years ago. So that was kind of, it was good. I thought he was definitely funny. He was over the top. He was goofy. Definitely love that by Bert. And then his younger self, when they do flashbacks, is played by Jimmy Torito. Torito. I forgot what. Sorry, mispronouncing his last name, but he crushed it. I thought he did great as a younger, like, loud, drunken, crazy version of Bert. And I thought he really did a good job with it. And then obviously Mark Hamill was probably the big name on the billboard, and he plays Bert's father, and he did a good job of being like that father that you think of when you're like, oh, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. Like, yeah, you might be a comedian, but when are you going to get a real job? Like, there's stuff like that. Like, I think he played very, very well, and obviously love Mark Hamill. He is one of my favorite actors, voice actors as well. So seeing him with Bert the whole time was pretty funny. It was like just them two together was pretty good. And then the third star is Eva Babkick, I believe her name is. She played Irina, which was the mobster that kidnapped them both. And really, the story follows them three, and them three together were really great. Eva was great. I thought she was really, really good as this super serious, and then she gets kind of funny, and she goes through her whole arc. I thought was good too. But right off the bat, I thought this was going to look like kind of shot on a cell phone, and it's going to look bad and not look kind of good, and completely wrong with that. Yeah, there's a lot of love and time and effort put into how this looked, because it looked really, really good. And I believe they shot in a different country. I can't remember what country it was. And they made it look great. His house, to them being in Russia and on the train and everything, was awesome. It looked great. So good actors, good kind of cinematography, and then the way they did the transitions from present to the flashback were great. I thought that was really well done. They made it kind of seamless, and I know it sounds weird when you say like when movies don't do flashbacks correctly, and a lot do that, and they suck, and they ruin it, and they kind of mess up the whole storytelling of it. This did it perfectly. Like, it cut back to a flashback at the perfect time to tell a part of the story that forwards the current storyline kind of going. And and then it kept building on itself, and like as you got further into the past, as that progressed, and as he's remembering it, you know, because he was so drunk, so drunk, and then it coincides with what is going on and currently, and it just works so well, like him finding this watch, you know, that Irina was looking for. But when they're on the train and Irina tells her backstory of it all, of why she's hunting down Bert and the rest of her siblings and family is as well, it made me kind of change. I'm like, the story, it's Irina's story, which is kind of cool. You know, it's like it's her story, and Bert's kind of there going on with the ride, and I thought that was like really well done. And then one of the great things was the action. The action crushed it with this one. The action like was really, really well done. Over the top, very silly, very goofy. Especially at the end, the big finale kind of fight scene kind of stuff was so good. It was so stupid and so funny. Exactly what I expected from it for sure. So yeah, so loved all that good stuff. Some of the bad stuff I didn't quite like. I would have to go back to Bert and him being such a never acted before. There were times where you're like, oh yeah, you don't know how to portray this either feeling or emotion or something as good as somebody who's had years and a lot of movies under their belt. But even at that point, it didn't really ruin the movie. I was like, okay, you know, it if you're a Bert fan, it kind of reminded me of like just kind of Bert. You know, if you're a fan, that makes sense. But if not, you know, it might be a little off-putting, but you know, because he's next to Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill's a legend, you know, and you put a person who's never been on a film, never acted before, next to a legend, it might be a little apparent at times, but it didn't ruin the movie by any means. The comedy was funny. It was really funny. There were a few times where it felt a little out of place, but not horrible. But yeah, I mean, this movie was a little less than 2 hours, which I thought was a great runtime. Yeah, the bad stuff I really didn't think were that bad. You know, I see some of these critics talking about it and how it was this, it was that, it was stupid. It was supposed to be kind of silly and stupid, but it had a lot of heart, which I felt too. You know, it's like a lot of father-son issues and family issues and this and that, and even him and his wife, him and his daughter, stuff like that. So, you know, that's what really got me. It was like, oh man, it was really interesting, you know, like seeing like how he kind of, there's in the beginning, it's a fake story of why his daughter hates him, and that doesn't seem too far-fetched from the actual Bert Kreischer. So I thought that was like really kind of like funny. So like I said, this movie is definitely made for the Bert Kreischer fans, 100%. I'm not even going to try to like hide behind that, because there is a lot of inside jokes. There's a lot of there's a Tom joke, Tom Segura joke in there that was great. Even my girlfriend looked over, she goes, that's funny. She, like during this, she goes, that's funny, you know. And it's not so subtle, but it doesn't like, if you don't know, it's not going to be like, why did they do that, you know. But if you know, you know, and it makes it funnier. And then his wife plays a role in this. She plays somebody that she doesn't like, which is even more funnier, you know. So definitely had a thing. It's points with it. Yeah, man. Like the bad stuff, I really can't go get down on too much, because it was you know, nothing too crazy. You know, it definitely didn't overshadow the good stuff, and I thought the good stuff was pretty good. You know, Sponge was Martin Ford, you know, the big buff guy. He was kind of good. I mean, he didn't really have much, you know, besides being just the big buff guy there. So that was really good. But you know, looking at Rotten Tomatoes gave this one a 29% with the critics, but that's only 21 reviews. Like 21 reviews, you know, and they give it a 29%. And a lot of it is kind of like, it's stupid. I was like, it's a comedian's movie about a joke in his stand-up. I'm like, you're not going to get like Oscar worthy kind of stuff. I don't think they expected Oscar-worthy stuff. I think this movie was definitely made for the fans. I believe he even said it in one of his podcasts as well, because the audience score completely is different. It's 87% with 500 plus verified ratings, and it did the job. It did the job. Even the all audience score is still 89%. So that's 2,500. But usually you look at the verified because they're the people who actually verified to go see this movie. So 87%. I think that's right there with what I think he might have expected with his audience, coming out and supporting him. But just knowing how much effort and time he put into this as a fan and listening to his podcast and stuff like that, he knocked it out of the park. I really think he knocked it out of the park with it. Yeah, it was just super fun. But we're gonna give I keep saying we I'm used to having other people with me. But I'm gonna give this one our ratings. Now, later, never. Now means just you gotta go watch it right now. It's worth it. Later means you can wait till it's on streaming. Never means skip it. It's not worth it. My biased opinion, it's a now, because I love Bert. He's super funny. I think he's just a goofball, and I think he's real. I think the person you see on screen seems to be like the person that is in real life, and this movie kind of mimics that, because I think in the movie he even says, he goes, I'm the machine on stage and off stage, and that's his problem. That was like the problem he was having of being this on stage persona and this other family, a father, and that was like a whole under thing, because then he has a problem with his father, and then and then it just kind of like all unravels with their relationship throughout the movie. But but my unbiased, I'm probably still gonna give it a now. Like, honestly. So I just want to let you know, because I was super biased going in, but like after like actually putting on my critic hat and stuff like that, this one was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was very over the top, but it was fun. It was fun, and I thought the story was good enough where you can sit back and enjoy it and laugh. And actually laugh and enjoy yourself. The only problem is this movie came out probably in one of the busiest movie summers of all time. At least my lifetime. There's so many movies out, and this one wasn't ever gonna really get the time of day it probably deserved because of all the other stuff that was coming out right around it. But if you have time, summer, I get there's a lot of time. It's rated R, so do not take the kids. There's drug use, a lot of profanity, a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol. No nudity, no sexual stuff, which is kind of good. So there's like, that not too bad. So if you're okay with drugs and violence, maybe the kid's okay, but it is super violent. At the end, it gets insanely violent, and it gets very funny. I mean, there's a part where multiple people die, and you're laughing at it, and it was so funny, and yeah, love this movie, and I think if you go watch it and keep an open mind, I think you might enjoy it as well, because it is fun, but yeah, that's my quick review of it. It's fun, and the more of a Bert fan you are, the more you're gonna enjoy it. I guarantee that. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. You'll definitely enjoy yourself a lot, and just crack up. So, but that's my review of The Machine, starring Bert Kreischer, Mark Hamill. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think about The Machine. Is it funny? Did you not think it was funny? I could see that if you're not a fan. Maybe a lot of people just like it fell flat, but I'm really curious to know what people think about it. Me being a big fan, I know I'm biased, so I have my biased opinion on it all. But yeah, let us know. Leave a comment, and let's chit chat about it. But thank you guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, hit that share button, share it with some of your friends and stuff like that. Throw it on Facebook and Twitter and whatever else. I don't know. But appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys in the next video.